All right, let's get right into it. There's this massive shift happening in how we think about our money and our stuff, and it's called the no-buy year. So today we're going to dig into why so many people are doing this, how in the world they're actually pulling it off, and what they're really getting out of this pretty radical challenge.
So, let's start with a number, $120,000. That is the amount of debt that one creator, Christina Michis, realized she was in just a few years ago. I mean, just think about that number. For most people, that feels like an impossible hole to dig out of, right? But it's exactly these kinds of wake-up calls that can spark a massive change.
And her quote, wow, it just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? This isn't just about the math. It's an identity crisis. That feeling of cosplaying rich, I think a lot of us can understand that on some level. And she's not alone. We heard from another creator who spent a whopping $38,000 in just 1 year before deciding, okay, something has to change.
But here's the thing. This whole movement, it's not just about getting out of debt. It's a reaction to this constant, overwhelming pressure we're all under to just consume. You know what I'm talking about? We're just bombarded with ads, with these micro trends that last like a week, and this social pressure to keep up. It's exhausting. And that's what's leading to this whole counter-movement, mindful consumerism.
And one of the biggest tools they use against us is something called scarcity marketing. Think about it. You've seen this. Those viral, limited edition drinks, right? Like the Alani Nu Witch's Brew. The marketing is genius because it creates this absolute frenzy. It makes you feel like if you don't get it right now, you're going to miss out forever. I mean, people are literally driving for hours and buying hundreds of cans, all because of that manufactured urgency.
And that scarcity marketing, it plugs right into our FOMO, our fear of missing out. It's wild how it works. One day, you've never even heard of a Stanley Cup or a Labubu figure, and the next day, your entire TikTok feed is just flooded with them. And it makes you feel like you're the only person on the planet who doesn't have one. These things go from totally unknown to a must-have basically overnight, pushing us to buy just to feel like we're part of the conversation.
Okay, so how do you even begin to fight back against all that pressure? Well, this is where the whole mindset has to shift. A no-buy challenge that actually works isn't about feeling deprived. It's about completely redefining your why. It's way less about what you're giving up and so much more about what you stand to gain. Yeah, of course, saving money is a huge part of it. But when you look at the real goals, they go so much deeper. People are trying to tackle their overconsumption head-on. They want to focus on quality, not just quantity. They're looking to reclaim their mental space from all the physical clutter. And for a lot of people, reducing their environmental impact is a big one too. But at the end of the day, it's about investing in what truly matters. Your health, your experiences, the stuff that actually makes life better. So if you're thinking, okay, I might want to try this, where do you even start? Well, what's interesting is that the people who really succeed don't just make a random, super long list of forbidden items. Instead, they think in terms of categories and, more importantly, habit shifts. They target the behaviors that got them into overspending in the first place.
And this right here, this really breaks it down perfectly. It's not just about stopping a bad habit, right? It's about consciously replacing it with a good one. So instead of mindlessly chasing viral trends, you focus on cultivating your own personal style. Instead of buying a bunch of cheap dupes and backups, you invest in quality things that will actually last.
And I love this quote from Christina because it just nails that quality over quantity mindset. Think about it. How many times have you bought the cheaper dupe of something you really wanted? You get it, you're kind of disappointed, and then you end up buying the original thing anyway. So you've spent double the money and created twice the clutter. The whole idea here is to buy it once and buy it right.
Oh man, and the backup trap, that's a huge one, isn't it? We totally convince ourselves, oh, I'll use this extra moisturizer right away, or I need a backup of this foundation. But the reality, it can take over a year to finish a single item. And all those just-in-case products just end up as a backlog of clutter that honestly just weighs on you, both mentally and financially.
All right, so we've got the why down. We get the motivation. Now let's talk about the how. Because successfully pulling off a no-buy year isn't just about having superhuman willpower. It's about having a solid, actionable playbook to guide you. And what we've found is that most successful journeys really boil down to these 4 key strategies: creating friction, setting clear personal rules, knowing your triggers, and totally redefining value. So let's break that down. Step 1, create friction. Look, our world is built for one-click, instant gratification buying. It's too easy. To fight that, you have to intentionally make it harder for yourself to shop. Christina Michis did this by just quitting online shopping for anything that wasn't an absolute essential. Just the simple act of having to get up,
get in the car, and go to a physical store adds enough time and effort to kill most of those impulse buys.
Next up is step 2, setting clear personal rules. And a classic one you hear all the time is the one in, one out rule. Now, this isn't about being wasteful, it's a mental trick to force yourself to look at what you already own. If you want to bring a new shirt into your closet, you first have to decide which shirt is leaving. It totally changes your relationship with just accumulating more stuff.
And as you can see, these rules have to be deeply personal. There's no one-size-fits-all solution here. For some people, it's limiting clothing shopping to once a quarter. For others, it's a strict 72-hour waiting period before any non-essential purchase. The whole point is to create rules that target your specific weak spots. And that leads perfectly into step 3, which is knowing your triggers. Because to set the right rules, you have to understand why you shop in the first place. A lot of people keep a no-buy journal to track what they feel when they get the urge to buy something. Are you bored? Stressed? Sad? Just recognizing that emotion is the first, crucial step to breaking the link between the feeling and the action of spending money.
And finally, step 4 is all about redefining value. This is where you really see the magic happen. All that money that you're not spending on cheap trinkets or fast fashion, it gets reinvested. So instead of buying another wellness gadget that promises a quick fix, you actually invest in your mental health. Instead of another disposable item, you save up for a concert, or for high-quality food, or for a hobby that genuinely makes your life richer.
So that brings us to the big question, right? After all the rules, all the friction, all the journaling, what's the real goal here? What is the actual payoff for all this work?
And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Yes, you get more money in your bank account, and that's great. But the true return on this investment is so much bigger than that. It's about getting more of your time back from mindless scrolling and shopping. It's about finding more freedom from that constant pressure to keep up. And it's the mental clarity you get when you realize you own your choices instead of letting consumer culture own you.
So at the end of the day, the no-buy movement isn't really about saying no. It's not about deprivation. It's about redirection. The real question it forces you to ask isn't, what will I stop buying? It's, what will I finally have the time, the money, and the energy to start investing in? And that, well, that's a question we could all probably benefit from thinking about.